in the upcoming season is that Druid Wolves will now have splash damage. So for all the people that complained that Druid Wolves were the only summon, pretty much, that didn't have splash in PD2, Druid Wolves will now have splash in Season 5. And I decided, you know what, we will change a few things on them. So Rampage got changed from Shale L If Shale to Shale L If Eth now. So the final Shale has been replaced with an Eth rune. Obviously this makes the item more accessible at early game. It's also a buff to the item because it means that the item now has minus 25% target defense. So the item's been minorly buffed due to getting minus target defense. And it's also more accessible due to requiring... So we actually enabled Neophyte and Claws now. And Neophyte is now changed to Full Tier. So Neophyte is Full Tier. It has 20% faster cast rate, 3 to 14 cold damage, physical damage taken reduced by 2 to 4, half freeze duration, 25 PLR, and 2 MPK. Is when our Act 1 Amazon, or I guess I should say Rogue Mercs, going to be able to use arrows and quivers? Well, the answer is Season 5. So for anyone that likes their A1 Mercs and is a big A1, like LCs, for example, are just as good as SCs now. But GCs are 10% worse in damage. So you can see these LCs are way stronger than they were previously, right? LCs and SCs are equal in damage. GCs are 10% lower than SCs or LCs per slot. So elemental damage charms across the board are much stronger than they were previously. They're now normalized, basically. So poison damage charms will also be stronger than they were, basically. Right? And obviously that's a buff to skills like Cobra Strike, which carries poison damage charm damage. It's also a buff to poison or poison strike as well, or previously known as poison dagger. So if you played Cobra Strike or poison strike, both of those skills carry poison damage from charms. You know, it could put you in a dangerous situation, things like that, right? So the way it works now is that instead of doing it in waves, he continually spawns mobs. And he also periodically curses randomly. So, like I said, compared to how it was previously, where they spawn in waves, he'll just continually spawn consistent mobs. And as you can see, they're not dropping loot, right? Previously, they dropped loot. They don't drop loot anymore. So there's none of that loot clutter that you previously had, where there's like 4,000 potions, right? And then when the event ends, he drops all the loot at him in a big loot pinata. So compared to previously, when it was all about, like I said, killing the waves as they spawn, it's now a faint humming keeps the dark at bay. So as you guys notice, map events now trigger a text. So if any of you guys had a hard time seeing map events, it will now trigger a text, and you'll be able to tell which event it is based on the text that's displayed. So there will always be an in-game text now. We've also improved the map icon. So if you can see on the map now, there is a red cross. The map icon is much more clear than it was previously. So you'll get the big red cross on your map, and you'll get an in-game text message, making the map events much more obvious than they were in the previous seasons, right? So the new event is the Spire of Darkness. When you activate the Spire of Darkness, the entire map goes pitch black. And begin spawning shadows that come out of the darkness. These shadows have a chance to drop Uber keys. As you can see, they are different key carriers. So your map will flood with shadows. They'll spawn in areas you haven't been to, obviously. And eventually, when you clear all the shadows, the darkness will go away. So what we did in this next season is Chaos no longer has Whirlwind and now has Blade Dance, which is a new assassin-only Whirlwind. You're going to say, Senpai, what makes this different from regular Whirlwind? Well, everything is actually the exact same on this skill as regular Whirlwind, to be honest. The only difference is that this skill attacks at 3 frames instead of 4. So Blade Dance attacks every 3 frames, and Whirlwind attacks every 4 frames. MX, leave it with the Prime. Appreciate that. So this is a Whirlwind that essentially attacks 25% faster than regular Whirlwind. So this compensates with the range loss by giving them more attacks per tick. So Whirlwind Sins are way stronger than they were previously. And this is with just a plain Jade Talon, mind you. This is a plain Jade Talon. This is an all fizz damage one, right? Yeah. This is an all fizz damage Whirlwind Sin with a Jade Talon. Thing with Cyclone Armor. Cyclone Armor now gains 2 additional energy, or 2 additional absorb per energy point. So if we start dumping into energy, you can see our Cyclone Armor will progressively increase, right? So energy on Druids is now useful because it'll scale your Cyclone Armor. Shift click or no balls. There we go. 400 energy build. 400 energy build. There you go. So Infinity previously had O skills Cyclone Armor. It now has a 2% chance to cast level 5 Cyclone Armor on casting. So following the same theme of adding chance to cast on cast, it's now a 2% chance to cast level 5 Cyclone Armor on casting, which does scale from the energy bonus. And a 15% chance to cast level 20 lightning on casting. Right? It's going to be strong when it procs, but it's not 100% uptime. All right, there, we finally got it, right? So it's not going to be consistent, but it is if you're playing. So if you guys want to have more fun with your crafteds, your rares, your magics, maybe you just want to punch some sockets in early ladder for fun, and like I said, not feel punished for it. They roll all the same socket amounts as a puzzle box, but they cannot be used on uniques and sets. That's right, we added a new Whirlwind Mercenary that instead of having an aura, as you can see, he casts battle orders right away. He checks to see if any party members do not have battle orders. So, let's just say, for example, I resummoned an Iron Golem. He'll do a check to see if anyone doesn't have battle orders, and then he'll try to battle orders them. So he checked that my minion didn't have battle orders, but I did, and he battle orders my minion. He also can cast Battle Cry. Obviously, it's weaker than a Barbarian's Battle Cry, but he can still cast Battle Cry. Loot that drops in the void now lands on the nearest area. This applies to mobs in Chaos Sanctuary, Mephisto, Arcane Sanctuary, all flying mobs in the game. You want to kill 20 ghosts in the void? Go for it. Have fun. You don't gotta slow down because of bad game mechanics. You're trying to play. We are going to be revealing a new trade site. This trade site will automatically parse your stash and will automatically list it on the site, so there will be no more manual listing. No more manually listing. All things will be automatically parsed. You'll select what you want to post. You'll post it. If you want to search for things, you can search it. You can do things like favorite different listings. You'll be able to have filters, and these filters will